Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Francoise Darastal Ledger, and I welcome you to the Hartford Board of Education Teaching and Learning Committee meeting. Today is not May. Today is June 3rd, 2026, and I welcome everyone. Um, Christina, can you please put up the agenda? And board members will be joining, other board members will be joining. And as always, these meetings are recorded, so feel free to go back and review at your leisure. Thank you so much. And our first item on the agenda is the acceptance of funds, NEAG Grant Renzulli School 2026-2027 Renzulli Academy Enrichment Specialist Board Contract Summary. And I believe the presenter will be Ms. White. So I hand it over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and allowing me to present. I also want to thank you and the rest of the board when they come. If you can thank them just for accepting this grant last year or this past school year as well. This is a continuation of this grant. Last year we received $70,000 from NEAG and UConn to have an enrichment consultant. This year, they are granting us $75,000 for the same position and for it to be a 2-year grant. So $75,000 for the 26-27 school year, as well as the 27 and 28 school year, and potentially for them to also grant another $75,000 for the 28-29 school year. So potentially 3 years for us to have our enrichment consultant. This is a very important piece for gifted and talented education. Having a consultant is big in terms of booking and strategizing around type ones. That's a Renzulli term for just enrichment that is exposing students to all types of topics, hobbies, just to really keep them interested in wanting to be a part of their education community. The alignment, the strategic alignment is under expansive learning and opportunities. And in our student culture and climate survey, we saw that we had a 4% increase overall in student satisfaction of their expansive learning opportunities. So having this grant is truly important for our school. If you want to go to the slide that's right above that, Christina.
Sorry, is it this one?
No, slide 4, sorry.
Slide 4?
Yes.
That is slide 4.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. This
no,
one.
you were on the right one.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. The one right above it.
Oh, you know what? Hold on 1 second. Refresh. Okay, let me do it again. This one?
One that has the cost analysis on there.
Oh, yes, that one.
So we have been contracting with LePaire Consulting. Ashley LePaire is the consultant. She has helped us with program development and curriculum design, direct instruction, also some small groups and some intervention for students, some of our underperforming gifted and talented students. She is a huge collaboration and a consultant for us. She's also been helping us keep on top of new research and trends and best practices in gifted education. We know, like in Connecticut, gifted and talented education is you have to identify, but you don't necessarily have to service. And so making sure that we have the best practices available for our students and that we're grounded in the Renzulli model is very important. With this cost of $75,000, Ashley charges $85 an hour. So it'd be 21 hours a week that she would work for the 41 weeks of school. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm just trying to see if anyone has any questions. And I don't believe so. So thank you so much for that presentation. And I don't have any questions at this time either. So
Okay,
thank you so much.
thank you.
And Christina, can you please
I think
share the
I
agenda?
am, right? Am I delayed? I might be delayed. Why is it so delayed? I'm putting the agenda up. That is so weird. Hold, please.
Okay.
You guys could see the
And
slides before, right?
yes, we still
Yes.
see the
Okay.
slides.
Yes.
This is so weird.
And thank you, Dr. White, for your presentation. And I think while Christina is working on the next set,
Stop.
we'll go ahead and dive into the presentations. Does that work?
Yeah, it just came up. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
perfect.
so the next item on the agenda is secondary Q3 updates. Board of Ed Teaching and Learning Committee slides, secondary teaching and learning at 6.3, 26. So yes, you can go on, Dr. Saki. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And good evening, everyone. I hope you are all well. And hello, Committee Chair Darrell Ledger, Board Chair Brody, members of the board, and Dr. Townsell. Thank you again for this opportunity to share with you all today. Today, we'll be getting some updates from our academic team. So not just our secondary team, but from all our teaching and learning teams. Last meeting, you did hear from our pre-K program and Little Owls. And I'm not sure how many of you had an opportunity to visit, but that is a wonderful visit. So if you do have an opportunity to visit the Little Owls program, I hope you take Miss Minnick up on that. So today we're going to be hearing from our secondary department, our elementary department, and our multilingual department. Unfortunately, our secondary director is not able to attend, so our assistant director, Vanessa Cruz, will be presenting on both the middle school and the high school. Before we get started, and since this is our last Teaching and Learning Committee meeting for this school year, I wanted to take a minute to thank all of you for your leadership and support this year with the work that we've been doing as a teaching and learning department. This work without the support of the Board of Education. So thank you all. As you hear from the various presentations tonight, you'll see that things are definitely moving in the right direction. And I also wanted to take a minute to thank my team, Ms. Avicoli, Dr. Carrillo, Ms. Cruz, Ms. Kushner, Ms. Minnick, and Ms. Robles for all their work and dedication to our students, our staff, and our community. Thank you all for all of your hard work. And I'll now have Vanessa Cruz, our Assistant Director of Secondary, join me for the secondary presentation. Once that is done, I'll invite Dr. Carrillo to present on the elementary and Ms. Robles for our ML department. So if we could start with slide 2, I always like to start by reviewing our mission and vision statements, which is to provide all students with the learning and support they need to succeed in school and life. Our vision is for all our students to graduate prepared to transform our world. Next slide, please. And I just wanted to review quickly sort of like our belief in terms of for secondary and for high school. Our belief as a district is simple. Every high school student, regardless of their background or circumstances, deserves equitable access to rigorous, high-quality curriculum, high-quality instruction, and the resources they need to thrive. Everything we're going to share tonight connects back to the belief I just read. And there are 4 main pillars for the high school experience. The quality of instructional materials, post-secondary exploration, post-secondary readiness, and just the daily school experience itself for high school students. Tonight's data shows we're making real progress, and I'll now have Vanessa share some of that data with us. Vanessa?
Thank you, Dr. Saki. Good evening, board members. It is a pleasure to be with you all this evening. One of our priorities as we began the school year in high school was rolling out some of the equitable grading practices throughout grades 9 through 12. This slide shows our grade distributions across all of our high schools for quarters 1 through 3. I would like to draw your attention to the reduction in failing grades. After the completion plan window, we saw a 13.9% reduction in failures. And what you see here is that our two-part grading system, where we have separated academic achievement from habits of work, is giving students clearer feedback and more targeted pathways to demonstrate mastery. The completion plan serves as a structured, monitored way to support students with demonstrating understanding of the course content standards.
And Vanessa, if I could just add to that slide, I do give a lot of credit to our teachers, because our teachers did have to take on an additional load in terms of creating these completion plans, supporting students in completing these plans. So that was a shift in terms of what teachers were doing. So, again, for leading this work. The work was started obviously at the central office level, but the teachers in the classroom at the high school level were the ones who actually led the work. So kudos to our teachers.
Yes, I want to echo that. This work could not have happened without our dedicated teachers and school leaders who have really been pivotal, and their feedback has been so essential in shaping this work for the year and also for the next year. This slide is a high-level snapshot of where we are in this current school year. 3 metrics tell the story overall. 52% of grades are now A's or B's. That's above our school year 23-24 baseline. Over 63% of students are passing all of their courses, also above last year's baseline. And the percentage of students with 1 or more failing grades has dropped from 33.1% last year to 36.8% this year. And these are the results as of the end of quarter 3. So we're already thinking about analyzing data after quarter 4, which is around the corner. But we see improvement on every one of these measures. And as Dr. Sacchi pointed out, this isn't coincidental. It's really the intentional, consistent, collective work of all of our staff, leaders, and students, for whom we are very grateful. On this slide, we were able to gather some staff feedback already to help kind of shape where we go for the next school year. And it's pretty much disaggregated into like what's working and what are things that we can improve on or grow. Altogether, we've received 101 responses from 94 teachers across 10 of our school sites district-wide. That level of participation tells us that our teachers really are engaged and committed to this work and really care about equitable grading for our students. And again, as Dr. Sacchi noted, their voice is really how we can move the work forward. On this final slide for grading, you'll see that the feedback fell into 2 general categories: what's working, what needs refinement. Teachers told us the grading reforms are providing students with clearer, more actionable feedback. And they also named areas for improvement, particularly around implementation consistency, completion plan workflows, and ongoing professional learning that we are already thinking about building in for 26-27. Again, we are extremely appreciative of the feedback and commitment of our teachers that we will use to inform our year 2 planning. And the final slide for secondary, we are currently in the benchmark 3 window. This week, our middle schoolers are taking the Reading Plus diagnostic, and we're excited to see more growth. We did want to share where we were mid-year. So we started benchmark 1 beginning of the year. Middle of year, we have those 2 data points. And we've highlighted what's really helped. And we're seeing in classrooms, teachers really leveraging the high-quality instructional materials, supporting students with accessing complex text in all classes, so not just ELA, but we see that with the social studies curriculum, science curriculum, and math. And then students really leaning into Reading Plus. We saw tremendous growth in students that were completing the minimum 40 lessons mid-year. And Reading Plus is then used to strengthen student fluency, comprehension, and vocabulary. Teachers then use the reports to support students with targeted instruction in small groups, and students can access Reading Plus, not just in school, but at home. And as I mentioned, Benchmark 3 is currently in progress this week. We look forward to being able to report out on more growth at the end of the school year.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Okay.
And just to add, you know, as we go into next year, the work with the grading committee is going to continue at the middle school level next year.
Yes.
You know, the progress that has been made at the high school level was important and strong enough that, you know, we're looking to expand next year to middle school and then the following year to elementary school. And, you know, again, I can't stress that enough. You know, it's a team effort. It took, you know, central office admin, building admin, classroom teachers, and students, right? Everybody had to play their part in order to make this work. So, you know, the goal is, again, for next year to expand this to the middle school level. At this point, we'll open up for any questions.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the presentation. One question that I have is with regards to the, I guess it was the survey that was passed out, or, you know, that was shared. So there were, looking back at that slide, there were 101 total responses district-wide, 94 teachers. So of the teachers, you know, of the responses, how many teachers, out of how many teachers who responded? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what was the participation level?
Participation rate.
Yes.
And Vanessa, can you pull up that slide again, if possible? So
Yes,
we can
let me pull up the slide. That is a great question. I don't know that I have the percent out of the total,
Mhm.
but we could definitely get that. I'm just going to reshare.
And I'll say, you know, Committee Chair Darcel Ledger, we can definitely get that specific
Absolutely.
data and reshare that.
Okay. Thank you. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
And the next question I have is, of the, let me see, with regards to the benchmark, you know, benchmark 1 and benchmark 2, how
Yes.
many students were MLL students, as opposed to not? What was that percentage?
So that varies. We have that data. We do have subgroup data, our MLs and also students with disabilities. It varies by school and by grade level, but I'm happy to provide that as well,
Okay.
because this is overall, but then we did disaggregate by subgroups and by school.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. That is all I have for questions. Let me see if I have any hands up. I don't see any more hands up. So I believe we're all set. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz, for your presentation.
Of course.
Really appreciate that. I will now have Dr. Carrillo share on our elementary department. Dr. Carrillo.
Okay, good evening. Okay. Good evening, committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to share an update from the Department of Elementary Teaching and Learning. Tonight, we will walk you through our work this year around what we call Monitor and Respond to Learning, our district-wide instructional priority across all K-5 content areas. Tonight is a window into how we're changing the instructional culture in our schools and why that matters for Hartford students. Everything we do in the elementary department is anchored in our vision that Hartford Public Schools students will engage in copious, diverse learning experiences to discover their unique passions and to acquire the knowledge and skills necessary to pursue their passions with courage and excellence. And two of our beliefs are especially relevant tonight. Our first belief that all students can achieve grade level competencies with access to grade level curriculum and effective instruction. And our second belief that changing student outcomes requires shared responsibility to continuously improve instructional practice. Those beliefs are the engine behind Monitor and Respond to Learning. This year, our department operated through three interlocking priorities, and you can see the logic chain here. When we change what teachers do, their instructional actions, we change what and how students learn. And when we change learning, we move student achievement. The three priorities this year were to monitor and respond to learning across all content areas, implementation integrity for foundational reading skills of foundations in K3 and just words in grades 4 and 5, and supporting striving readers through our literacy lab model in tier 2, which we've presented on twice this year. Tonight, we're zooming in on priority 1, monitor and respond. So what is monitor and respond exactly? Monitoring and responding to learning is in service of enabling productive struggle. Productive struggle occurs when students engage with appropriate, rigorous content, tasks, and expectations and do the thinking themselves and with appropriate support, which is called the cognitive lift. The research on this is clear. When students wrestle with challenging content in a supportive environment, they build durable understanding. When we take that struggle away, we take away the learning. Monitor and Respond is the set of teacher practices that make productive struggle possible. Teachers who do this well provide cognitively demanding curriculum-aligned tasks anchored in grade level standards. They ask all students to think in cognitively demanding ways, not just the students who raise their hands. They make student thinking visible. They respond in real time based on what they observe, and they create classroom environments where every student feels that they belong. And critically, they do this work before the lesson, not just during it, anticipating where students will struggle and planning responses in advance. This slide shows the research on maintaining cognitive demand. So our priority this year on monitoring and responding to learning is about ensuring our teachers know how to monitor learning and how to respond to learning in ways that maintain the cognitive demand intended by the task. So let me name some of the traps because teachers fall into them with the best of intentions. So one way where we see the cognitive demand being diminished is by telling students the answer or the strategy to use. Another way is by breaking problems into teacher-determined steps, or jumping in at the first sign of confusion, or simplifying tasks before students even attempt them. These all feel helpful in the moment, but what they actually do is steal the thinking from students. In contrast, practices like providing just-in-time scaffolds, not just-in-case scaffolds, and affording wait time keep the intellectual work where it belongs with students. And teachers can't do this without believing that struggling students can do grade level work with the right support, and that belief system is non-negotiable. So how do we build these habits in teachers? Today, I'm going to talk about two ways in which we go ahead and support teachers in building these habits of monitoring and responding. And the first is through our targeted preparation protocol. So this protocol is a structured, repeatable routine that coaches and teachers use to prepare for lessons. It follows a simple cycle of find the opportunity, connect to purpose, plan to act, put it into practice, and reflect and refine. The key insight is that monitor and respond isn't a personality trait, it's a habit, and habits can be built with the right structure. As Charles Duhigg says, once you understand that habits can change, you have the freedom and the responsibility to remake them. We use this protocol during PLCs across our schools this year as a deliberate habit building mechanism. And this is a screenshot of the protocol. And what we do is we're looking at these specific teacher actions that are indicators that support productive struggle, and teachers intentionally prepare for them within the protocol for their lesson. A second way in which we're supporting teachers with monitoring and responding is through strategic monitoring. So the second teacher-facing tool is our strategic monitoring approach. So strategic monitoring is the intentional habits a teacher uses to maximize their awareness of student engagement and understanding in real time during instruction. So we trained K-5 teachers to do 5 things. First, identify key success criteria before the lesson begins. Second, plan purposeful laps, structured passes through the room with a specific look for each time. And you can see in this example here, so what this would look like is a teacher would say, I'm going to circulate, I am looking for 2 to 3 events listed in column 1. And the teacher is circulating looking for those events. Then they anticipate common misconceptions and prepare targeted just-in-time responses. So it's not only identifying what you're looking for in students and communicating what you're looking for in students, you've anticipated how you will respond if you see students struggling. So for example, if the teacher had said that she was looking for 2 to 3 events and perspectives listed in column 1 of their sheet, and she notices that a student wouldn't be doing that, then she would be prepared to as a scaffold, do a strategic read aloud of a specific text that highlights discrepancies and ask the question, are the portions of the text similar or different, and how so? So the teacher has planned what they're looking for specifically in their circulating and how they will respond if they're not seeing what they're hoping to see when doing their laps. They use a strategic monitoring template to track student progress towards the learning goal. And they select student work strategically to drive whole class discussion. So we embedded this work into our Wit and Wisdom professional learning for all grades K to 5. And then in grades 4 and 5, this was also embedded into our Eureka Math Squared professional learning and our Elevate Science professional learning. This idea of monitoring through it's called strategic monitoring, and we use these laps to identify what it is that we're looking for, communicate what we're looking for, and then have pre-planned scaffolds and a response for what do we do if students are struggling or need additional support. So now I'm going to transition to how do we support leaders with the monitoring and responding priority. So we support leaders through something called collective goal scores. So while we're supporting teachers directly, we're also building leaders' capacity to sustain and spread these practices. Collective goal scores is a whole school approach to observation feedback that builds collective responsibility and mutual accountability. Here's how it works. The instructional leadership team collaboratively identifies 3 to 6 teacher actions, which are specific observable look-fors, aligned to the instructional priority. Each week, the ILT visits at least 2/3 of classrooms and scores those look-fors. Results are shared with the whole faculty, not individual teachers, but the collective score. This model creates a culture where instruction is everyone's shared responsibility. And what is expected to be observed is clear. For example, this is an example of 5 indicators that could be used during collective goal score process. And a principal would be looking for something like, when a student gives an incorrect or incomplete response, the teacher responds strategically by posing a targeted question or referencing prior learning rather than immediately correcting or telling the answer. So it's a very specific thing that a school leader can look for in instruction in service of monitoring and responding to learning. And in the example that I gave, that's directly aligned to the whole idea of maintaining cognitive demand in our response to learning. The look-fors are the specific actions necessary towards a broader instructional goal like monitoring and responding to learning. So here we have these 5 indicators. Those are actions that are all in service of monitoring and responding to learning. And additionally, our second strategy that we supported school leaders with, and finally, to ensure principals can lead high quality professional learning at their schools, we built a full suite of grade level PLC guidance resources. So we build the tools for principals to lead instruction at their schools. So every protocol on this slide, the General Data Analysis Protocol, the Wit and Wisdom Targeted Preparation Protocol, the Eureka Math Squared Exit Ticket Analysis, and the ELA and Math Interim Assessment Protocols, the Elevate Science Protocol, these all come with a ready to facilitate slide deck and a facilitation agenda. This is one of the ways we scale instructional improvement across all schools. We build the system so the principal is set up to succeed as the instructional leader of their building. So to summarize what we've shared tonight, we defined Monitor and Respond as a district-wide instructional priority grounded in the belief that changing instruction is the only lever for changing achievement. We trained K-5 teachers in strategic monitoring during Wit and Wisdom, and grades 4 and 5 teachers in strategic monitoring during Eureka Math Squared and Elevate Science. We used the targeted preparation protocol during grade level PLCs to build monitoring and responding as a deliberate teacher habit. We trained school leaders in collective goal scores as a mechanism for monitoring change in instruction across their buildings. And we built and deployed grade level PLC guidance so school leaders can lead high quality professional learning communities without starting from scratch. Looking ahead to 2026, 2027, we will sharpen our focus on multilingual learners and students with disabilities, applying the same monitor and respond framework with even greater intentionality and urgency for those students. We believe every Hartford student deserves a teacher who monitors where they are and responds with the right support, and that's what we're building. We welcome your questions and feedback.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carullo, for your presentation. That was some great information. One question that I have is with regards to the cultural competency piece. What if you have, or not what if, but is that factored in with regards to how students may learn or what background knowledge they come in with? Because I'm curious to know if perhaps the cultural competency piece is not there with regards to the curriculum, with regards to the content, is that mistaken for a lack of learning?
Yeah, so it's our support of teachers with the cultural competence is built into the learning. So I went back to this slide because a big part, this is specific to the mathematics PD that was done around mathematics, is that students see themselves as thinkers and doers of mathematics. And the way that we impact how students see themselves as thinkers and doers of mathematics is how we as the adults respond to students, how we respond to when they're doing things correctly, how we respond to when they're making a mistake, who we call on, who do we circulate to in the classroom. So all of the learning that we're engaging teachers in through this monitoring responding priority does factor in all of those aspects to make sure that all students are being given the opportunity to think and that they all do see themselves as thinkers and doers of mathematics, regardless of what their background or competencies may be.
Okay, thank you. So they're not, I don't want to say penalized, but it's like a process versus, product type situation, where they may have a different way of coming up with the answer. So they're able to, I like that, they're able to think freely and, use their way of coming up with the answer. Is that correct? Or
Yes,
does it have,
yes.
have to be a specific way?
No, much of the curriculum in secondary is the same, is really about like these tasks, and then students develop through the curriculum different strategies. So I'm sure if you've seen any of the math work that's gone home with students, there are an abundance of strategies. And the idea is that students do identify the strategies that work best for them, but they do get exposure to multiple strategies. But when it comes to solving a task, there is no penalty for solving using a specific strategy that the child may prefer.
Okay, great.
Yes,
Thank
so
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. So Mary, to reword it a different way. So students can solve a math problem any way that that works for them, right? Well, there's a way to learn at home, a way to learn in the classroom, but they're also exposed to various strategies of how to solve that math problem, right? So whichever one works best, whether the one that they learned independently or at home, or the one that they learned in school, they're just given options of different ways to tackle the same type of math problem. So to your question, Ms. Darastal-Leger, there is no penalty for a child solving a problem a way that's comfortable for them, but they are exposed to various methods of solving the math problem.
Awesome, thank you. I remember going to, I'm giving a little shout out to University High, where they had students get up and go to this board, and they had to figure, they could work in partners, they had to figure out how to solve certain problems. So it was beautiful to see the different methods that the students used to, arrive at the answer. So thank you so much. And let me see, once again, I don't see any hands up. So let me see, Board Member Wilson, do you have a question? Is there a question that you'd like to ask, or are you all set?
I'm all set. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much. And so is there another presentation, or is that?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So Dr. Saki, you're going to.
Yes, we do have one more, and thank you, Dr. Carullo, for. No, we have our ML, and then after that we should be done. But thank you, Dr. Carullo, for the presentation, and I'll now invite our Director of Multilingual Learning Department, Ms. Joanna Robles, to give us an update on the ML department. Ms. Robles.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm trying to share my screen. So let me share my screen, but good evening, everyone. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, but I see myself on the screen.
You see yourself on the screen.
I'm sure that's not what you're trying to present.
No. Okay, let's see.
I will also try to pull it up.
Okay.
No, because I know you sent the link. Where did it go?
How about now?
Yes.
Are you guys able to see it now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. We able to see it? Because I still see Dr. Saki.
No, we just see your slides. So
Okay, perfect.
From our
Perfect.
end, yes.
Okay,
It's
so
not in presentation mode, but we can see it.
okay, thank you. So good evening, board members. As Dr. Saki said, my name is Joanna Robles, and I am the Director of Multilingual Learners and Dual Language Programs. Tonight, I will highlight the successes of our ML students as we continue working collaboratively and sharing the responsibilities of our students' success. So our mission is to provide all our students with the learning and supports that they need to succeed in school and in life. Our vision, all students will graduate prepared to transform our world. I would like to point out to our mission and vision of our department, of the multilingual department. And the mission is to ensure all students achieve academic and linguistic success across content areas through equitable access to high quality teaching and learning. The vision to graduate bilingual, biliterate, and culturally proficient lifelong learners through the development of college and career readiness and global literacy. We believe Our students bring unique assets and talents and can achieve at high levels. Our students deserve multiple opportunities to develop bilingualism, biliteracy, and cross-cultural connections. Our students will be honored and recognized for their commitment to learning more than one language through the Seal of Biliteracy, as we just had this past week. Our students deserve access to high quality, equitable, grade appropriate curriculum and Tier 1 instruction. Educators must continually engage in and commit to ongoing professional learning grounded in a cycle of continuous improvement, dedicated to enhanced teaching and learning. The theory of action is if we honor students' native language and culture and provide high quality teaching and learning, as you heard from elementary to secondary, then students will excel academically and become contributing members of a global society.
And Joanna, before you move on, I don't know if you have this later on in the presentation. I think the stats for the Seal of Biliteracy, I think
It's there.
just outstanding.
Yes, it is there. So, thank you, Dr. Saki. So this is the make of our students. We have currently 15,847 students in Hartford Public Schools. Out of those students, we have a 50% English speakers, 33% Spanish speakers. We have a total of 86 languages spoken in our district and 25% multilingual students. Our schools district is reflective of the student it serves. Our diversity is something we're very proud of at Hartford Public Schools, and you're going to see as I go through the presentation and the successes of our ML students. While Spanish and English are the most common language, right, that 57 and 33% is 90% total of our student population, they are followed by Portuguese, Patois, Tamil, and Swahili. Our families speak a total of 86 languages, and 25% of our students are multilingual learners. So here's the updates on our literacy and celebrations. And so for our emergent bilingual students, as well as for our dual language, Dwight DeLisi dual language school, we have the curriculum American Reading Company, and this is the third year of the curriculum. The emergent bilingual classrooms in grades K-2, the Dwight DeLisi Dual Language School, currently K through 5th grade. Next year, we are that dual language model will be the whole school, K through 8th grade. Focuses American Reading Company focus on both English and Spanish literacy. It emphasized explicit and systematic instruction in foundational reading skills, including phonologic awareness, phonics, and fluency. And you will see that in our results for the last 3 years as how our students are increasing. And then they also have the School Pace, which is real-time data through School Pace designed to track students' progress and inform instruction in the moment. And so this report, Hartford's growth by tier, compares students' progress between the 24-25 and the 25-26 school years. It uses true primary assessments metrics, the IRLA, which is the Independent Reading Level Assessment, and the ANEAL, which is the Evaluación de Nivel Independiente Lectura, which is the IRLA, but in Spanish. So how are we understanding these metrics? The most important visual cues are the colored arrows, which show the trend compared to the previous years. Green up arrows means improvement. Students in this category are showing more growth than they did last year. Red down arrow means regression. Students are showing less growth compared to the same period last year. And then the gray indicators mean that they're stagnant, no significant change compared to both years. So the table is split into 3 performances. You have the tier emergency, you have the at-risk tier, and then you have the proficient tier. The emergency tier, students who are significantly below grade level. The at-risk, students who are moderately below grade level, and the proficient, students who are meeting or exceeding grade level expectations. The number, for example, 93 or 63 or 1.113 represents the average academic growth achieved. For example, 1.0 year growth means the student has gained exactly 1 year of academic progress. The overall strength. All grade levels are demonstrating positive academic growth. A major highlight is second grade ERLA, which is the English, which shows significant improvement across all tiers. Evidence of linguistic transfer. In second grade, students are instructed and assessed in Spanish for units 1 and 2, and completely transition to English for units 3 and 4. The strong growth in ERLA indicates that students are successfully transferring their foundational linguistic and academic skills from their native language, which is Spanish, into their second language, English. The impact of the new instructional model. Last year, second grade taught foundational skills in both languages, but transitioned entirely to English in the second half of the year. This year, we implemented a new model for featuring two distinct foundational skills periods in both first and second grade. One block focuses on native Spanish and the other one English. The data validates this new approach. By providing concurrent blocks, we gave students the explicit opportunity to bridge skills between both languages. The impressive ERLA growth in second grade proves this bridging strategy is working effectively. Now the last updates and celebration. So the Connecticut State Department of Education uses, we'll be using the LastLink assessment for our English language learners assessment, and that's a yearly test. And we give those tests to all our ML students from grades K to 12. All ML students are assessed on 4 domains. The last domains are speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And the domains are used to assess English language proficiency in students. On this data sheet, you will see the assessments for the last 3 years. Even though the total number of students tested dropped by 500, and when I say we had 500 students less than last year as MLs, the numbers of students exited increased to 191 students, and the numbers of students hitting levels 4 and 5 jumped to 416 from 384. That means students that score 4 or 5 are those students that are on the verge of passing and exiting our ML services. This indicates that ML instructional strategies are working and students are moving towards proficiency faster. When looking across the grade levels, a few distinct patterns emerge. In all 3 years, the highest number of exits and levels 4 and 5 consistently happen in late elementary and middle school, specifically grades 5, 7, and 8. Grade 5 success. Exit rates stayed high the 3 years, 10% in 2024, 14% in 2025, and 11% in 2026. Grade 8 for 2026 had an exceptional year with 293 students tested, 45 students exited from the 293, which is a 15%, the highest exit rate on the entire chart. And 82 of those students hit levels 4 and 5. High school exit numbers are historically much lower, and their growth seems to plateau. but overall trends, we are successfully moving more students into high proficiency bands 4 and 5 every year, growing from 365 in 2024 to 416 in 2026. Despite a smaller overall numbers of MLs. Population, the district achieved its highest number of exits to 191 students and the highest overall rate in the last 3 years to 5%. Our goal was 6, but we made 5%. Middle school cohort, especially 5th and 8th grade, are exiting at high rates, while high school cohorts 9 through 12 remain steady but require continued specialized long-term EL support. And then this is our overall outcome at or above proficient compared to last year. So for reading, we had a 3.8% increase. For writing, we had a 1.5% increase. For speaking, a 4.1% increase. And for listening, a 1.9 increase. And the completion rate of our AMS is 97%, which is a high numbers. Connecticut mandates that at least 95% of all our students, including every student subgroup, which is our MLs. And for us, we made 97%. And then as Dr. Saki was referring to, our seal of our literacy updates and celebrations. And so for Hartford Public Schools, Sierra Biliteracy celebration just took place on May 28th. Our guest speaker was Dr. Maribel Oliveira, who's currently the Director of Equity and Languages at the Connecticut State Department of Education. And I am happy to say that Dr. Oliveira is a proud product of Hartford Public Schools. For the past 2 years, we have exceeded over 200 students earning the seal by literacy. This year, there are 225 students earning the seal by literacy in 25 different languages. Many of these students are former ML students. And on May 19th, we recognize our trilingual students, our quadrilingual students, and our polyglot. First time ever were recognized at a Board of Ed meetings on May 19th. There are 6 trilingual students, 3 quadrilingual students, and 1 polyglot student speaking 5 languages. And in the past 7 years, 1,000 plus Hartford school seniors have earned the seal of biliteracy. And so I want to lift that the data shows that collectively we are building an ecosystem where every classroom teacher is equipped to provide high quality, grade level instruction in a culturally sound classroom to our ML students. 1 in 4 students in Hartford are identified as MLs. Multilingual learners possess unique access and strengths that can significantly benefit their future. By tapping into their assets and honoring their home language, we have created a more inclusive and equitable environment for multilingual learners and all our students, ultimately supporting their success and ensuring they are on the right path to meet graduation requirements. There's still a lot of work to get done, but we intentionally need to pair high expectations with targeted, data-driven instructional support, culturally responsive approach to continue to ensure the academic success of all our ML students. I want to thank you for your continued partnership and support, and for always believing in our students and for giving us the opportunity to educate our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robles, for that wonderful and empowering presentation. And we'll open it up for questions.
Yes, thank you. I echo that. Thank you so much for the presentation, Ms. Robles. I actually had the opportunity to attend the celebration at Martin Luther King School last week for the Seal of Biliteracy. awards, and it was amazing. There were presentations, there was dancing, there was a great deal
Thank you.
it was actually wonderful. So the question that I have is with regards to students who are identified as ML and student and families who, don't um, who don't take the services, if you will. What is being done? Like, how many students do you have that would be identified, because they would still be required to take that last is it last links
You are
test?
correct. You
Oh.
are correct. So students that I do qualify, and parents refuse programming, they are still required to take the last links on a yearly basis until they meet the exit criteria. And because of parental refusal, support is not provided to those students.
So I'm curious as to, with regards to what you do to kind of like what are you doing with those families? I know that if they once they refused, you're not able to, or you're not allowed to, provide them with those services. But how can something to think about? You might not have the answer now, but how can Hartford Public Schools? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We do. No, because at the moment, right, parents refuse. And, when they go into a general ed classroom, our teachers, they do connect with my department or my coaches or my ML staff. And if they have a concern over a particular student who was identified to benefit from ML services, but parents' refusal, we do contact parents and have a conversation with parents to let them know, and reiterate the programmings that we do have to support the students. And so that does happen once in a while, where we are connected and reconnected with the families because there is concern regarding the linguistic and academic ability of the students due to their proficiency.
Yes, thank you so much. But my question more is, how can we perhaps make the ML program, if you will, seem less like, kind of like, try to remove that stigma, because
Barrier.
there are some there, as an educator myself, and as a person who is bilingual, trilingual, I have I have had those challenges where there are some families who are they want their children to just speak English, or knowing that they may need those supports. So what is something that we can do to make it a bit more inviting, if you will, or to remove that stigma? That's just something to.
I think we need, and thank you for lifting that question, because it is a stigma for some families, right? And I think that we need to continue lifting the successes, and that being bilingual is a superpower, and how important that is to really tap into the student's native language, because a student's strong native language, as you and I know, does transfer into that second language seamlessly. And so it's just lifting the positives of that department and what we offer and how we support our kids.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let me see if we have any more. Anyone that has any questions? Oh, I do see. Oh, Krister, board member Estrada Perez has a question.
Thank you so much. And my apologies for being off camera. I am transitioning. Two questions. The first question is actually a follow-up to what you shared. What is the number one reasoning why families are refusing that extra support? Is it a little bit of that you were speaking about? Like, what is the general trend that you see in terms of why families deny that additional support?
I it would be a good thing to take surveys. So I really have some more information. But what I'm hearing, right, is that they want their students to learn English quicker. And so that is what I'm being reported back from my teachers and my coaches, where we sit down with the families and we provide them the report, we provide them the services and the definition of each of the services. And there are families out there that even with the services that are provided and with some of the successes, they still come back and report they want the students just to learn English.
There's a matter.
And I think,
Go ahead.
sorry, I was just going to add to what Joe was saying. And I think, there's obviously a perception issue here.
Mhm.
There's a perception that having this extra support might mean that you're not learning, English at a faster rate, which is not accurate. So I think part of what needs to be done is more education to our parents in terms of what these supports are actually doing for our children, right? And it's not taken away from
well.
it's not taken away from anything that a parent might see or perceive as not happening, but it's actually supporting and helping them pick up that. So I think a lot of it also has to do with perception as opposed to just refusal.
That's really helpful to know. Thank you so much. As also as a bilingual student, I remember when I came, when the first place I learned English, nobody else spoke Spanish, and it was either sink or swim, and it was just English straight up, and it was brutal. So I completely understand, but I also recognize some of the challenges that families may perceive about wanting to do it a little bit faster and some of those misconceptions, for sure. So looking forward to learning ways that we can support that. I have another question that may or may not be appropriate here, but I just wanted to ask it because it's related to dual language programming. It's brought to my attention that the dual language program at Burns Academy is using lower grade levels that are transitioning to higher grade levels of their dual language program. And I just wanted to know if you have a little bit more information about that, if you could forward more information about that, about what's going on, because I know that's a really important program, and we recognize the importance of, as somebody who's bilingual who also understands other languages like Portuguese and Italian. Because I speak Spanish, I know the power of being bilingual, right, and the power of being in that space, right? Can you share a little bit more information? And if it's okay if it's not here, that is the correct answer, would you be able to answer it? But do you have any information about that?
So board member, Ms. Estrada Perez, I missed the first part. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, that apparently, so I hear that the Latino Burns Academy dual language program is losing some of the lower grades that are transitioning into the higher grades, right? And so that for their dual language program, and I just wanted to know if you had any more information about that you can share with us.
I did not. This is the first I'm hearing. So I would definitely will look into that tomorrow and get back to you as soon as I find out any information. That is new to me. I know that we extended the program for next year. So now the program will be pre-K all the way to 8th grade starting next school year.
That's great. Yeah, if we can get a little bit more information about that, maybe some more info next session about that, that'll be really great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for lifting that and letting me know.
Okay, thank you so much, Board Member Estrada Perez. One thing that I wanted to just kind of lift up is, so on the same evening that the Seal of Biliteracy awards took place, the program took place, there was also on the other side of town, so I did a little school hopping, the Teacher Leaders Program, TLMP program, that presentation to action research took place. And so one of the, I'm working, I would love to have them present their projects, but one of the projects that was presented was done by one of the TESOL, a TESOL teacher, and her topic, her research topic was what influences the parents of K-12 English learners, ELs, to refuse or forego ESL / ESOL services. And it was very interesting with regards to the research that was done. And I would love to have them all, pretty much share their research. But it's something that is it's definitely, an issue. And, we really need to find a way to, have these families understand that this is definitely a benefit, and that knowing another language is definitely a superpower, and have children embrace that and connect with other students and other families and perhaps other educators who do speak other languages, because sometimes they will come and they'll be not so much they'll be shy or embarrassed or, but the thing is that's part of their culture, and we want to continue to lift that up and allow students and families to be who they are.
Thank you. I thank you for that. Thank you for mentioning that, because it really is about being who you are and being proud of who you are and your language. And it welcomes our family. It opens that community, right? And so just lifting that and saying that we need more of that. And I welcome any board members or any community members to come into our emergent bilingual classroom, as well as our dual language. So you get to see our students in action. Under the American Reading Company, our kindergartners need to do research and write around the research, and it's just amazing seeing these students not only in one language, but in 2 languages doing research and reading and writing. It's just amazing. So again, thank you for lifting that, because it is a superpower. It is their culture. It's who they are. And we need to tap that, and we need to lift that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm looking again, I don't see any more hands up. So I believe that is that it, Dr. Saki?
Yes, Chair Darrell Ledger, that is it.
Okay, so before we end, I just want to thank you, because this is your final teaching and learning committee meeting, and we are going to miss you, and you have done amazing work. You have done so much to carry in this position, and we wish you all the best. And let me do I know I'm sad to see you go, and I'm gonna do there we go. There's our celebration, our emoji celebration for you. You're getting hearts, you're getting all of that. So Edwin, you're getting some tears too. Okay. But yes, we are going to miss you, and we thank you for all that you've done, and we wish you well. We know that you're going to continue to do great work.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to work with each and every one of you. You're just an incredible group, and I just thank you for this opportunity to just be part of this team. And so thank you, and again, best wishes. Great team, and I know that the sky is the limit. So thank you again.
Okay, thank you. And I believe so that's the end of our meeting. So thank you for everyone who attended. And we are